All right, good morning, everybody. So, since our last posting when we had done some tasting, it was in April, and we had a bunch of different Pinots and Zinfandels here, and we had done the blend. Since now it's in August 4th, 5th, and what we're doing now is we're going to be tasting through the consolidated blends. Our 2010s is what we're going to be tasting today. 2010 PNESP, that's our sparkling Pinot Noir base. We're going to make our first ever sparkling Pinot Noir base champagne here sparkling at Harvest Moon. So there's that guy there. We're going to taste it. Our Pinot Noir blend, 15 barrel lot of our Pinot, our 2010 Randy Zin, Russian River Zin, our Estate Zinfandel, our single vineyard cab, the Buchignani cab, and of course the Sonoma Harvest blend. 2010 vintage is what we're going to be tasting, so let's do it. So I think I'm going to try and do, I've got my handy dandy sheet, I've got the dump bucket, and I've got my glass. I'm going to plug this stuff called Santosti. Wine, it's a winery specific beverage that has a little citric acid in it in addition to some CO2, and what it does is it helps keep your palate basically fresh and clean, disallowing any of the flavonoids and things in wines to stick to your palate, which means it prevents what's called palate fatigue. It's a silly term, but it exists. Check it out if you're a wine geek. Let's start with the sparkling Pinot Noir base. It's got a light body on it, which makes sense. Light color. It's got a year in neutral oak. I said it neutral oak so it's been 11 months right now. Wow, really nice floral notes. There's this really tart rhubarb. I get a little bit of this kind of holiday spice. Tart, which is how it should be. I'm going to take this wine over in a couple of months to have it finished and made into sparkling. So that is a good start. Yay. I'm going to put yay, Y-E-A-H. It's coming right along. It's holding up well. I think it's got enough barrel aging onto it that we're going to start converting it here soon. The next wine we're tasting is our 2010 Estate Pinot Noir. It's a 3 vineyard blend, mostly from the 115 and the 828 clone. Wow. Pine, perfumes, rose petal, Wow. That's nice. It's a little tannic right now, which is good. We're going to give it a little bit of air, and then we're going to bottle it in December. Wow, I get this kind of like herbal note, but not a green herbal note. There's just kind of like tart bubble gum, almost is how I would describe this guy here. Wow, there's a lot of that classic tart cherry that's found predominantly here in the Russian River. There's a lot of other flavors in this wine. Mint. It's picked about 22.5 bricks, which means that the final alcohol right now is about 12.8, 12.7 on the alks, which is very low. So you're getting a lot of berry with that Pinot, but there's a lot of other things going on in it, and I think that is the conversation to be had with Pinot Noir right now. Is okay, granted, now most of us can find a cherry profile in the Pinots. What's next? Like what do we do to complex these wines without necessarily imparting more oak flavor to it? Because you put new oak on it and it's going to impart flavor and aroma. But the question is can you do things to the vineyard such that there are layers in the fruit and you don't need to use a lot of new French oak. That's a 15 barrel lot. We have one new French oak barrel in that Pinot lot, which is plenty. Let's try the 2010 Randy Zin. So just to finish on this Pinot, we're going to do, I'm going to rack it with no air very carefully with O2. We'll use argon to push it. We're going to probably clean out the sediment at the bottom of those barrels and then gently place that wine back. Wow, 2010 Randy Zin is pepper. First thing I get off is big pepper. I get a little like red, like that red sauce smell on pizza. I'm getting that kind of spice, that like, what is that, oregano? Toasted oregano? Wow. 2010 vintage is going to be a tart vintage. Tart. Wow. But flavorful. Juicy. So what I'm doing with this setup here is I'm tasting through these wines. I'm looking for wines that need, what we call problem children, wines that need help. Through aeration or less sulfur, more sulfur, blending, deciding on when we're going to bottle these wines. Typically we bottle the Randy and the Pinot in, so we pick it in September, we'll bottle it that following year's December, so 15 months in the barrel, and then the other Zins and the Cabs will blend and bottle 5 months thereafter. I'm really digging this aroma on the Randy Zin though. It's really, really nice. Nice mouthfeel. Now it's tannic, and it's a little more tannic than I care for the Randy Zin. The I got in trouble with the 09 Randy. It's got 6 months in the bottle and it's still not ready yet. It's too tannic from the Syrah that we put in there. So what I'm going to do is rack this guy right now and then rack it and give it some air right now. Knock out some of that tannin, because this is wine that I want to be able to drink sooner than later. Let my other Zins see some more time in the barrel. So the Randy Zin is good, just air. I'm going to rack it for air here this week. Russian River Valley Zin blend. This is that 4 vineyard blend of Zinfandel. Just as much pepper, but more perfume. It's like a dark perfume. This wine is reminiscent of our 2007 vintage. Pepper, dark fruit. And there's this, I think it could use some air, but there's this kind of wound up pepper. This is a peppery year. It's interesting because I don't remember the 2010, when I'm pressing off, you can kind of get an impression of how much pepper is going to be in there, and I don't remember a lot of it being there, but this vintage is starting to come out with a lot more of the dark fruit and the pepper. Dusty. It's tart. The tannin kind of swells on you. It's not aggressive. It kind of just floats up, grips you, says hello, I'm here. And kind of like a wave, it just disappears again. That's nice. I'm going to just say top, and it's not so tannic that it makes me, you know, my palate unhappy, but it is structured. The difference between overly tannic and structured, well, that's for the individual person to decide. Now we're tasting our Estate Zen. This is our Pitt's Home Ranch. We didn't do a lot of it. We had a pretty tough vintage last year. We had only have 11 barrels of this. Normally we have about 18 barrels of this Estate Zen. This year we've got 11. Wow, really intense, wound up wine, perfume and pepper. I can tell you just by smelling this wine's going to age a decade. This has got more red fruit in it than the Russian River blend, which is interesting. Usually, if it's all the Zinfandels have either for a particular vintage a red fruit base or a darker, blackberry, blackcurrant fruit base. And this one here, the 10 Estate Zens showing much more red fruit. I mean, it's tough to get past right now, that pepper. So I think I've said pepper, well, at least 10 times, I think. This 2010 vintage for Harvest Moon is going to be a peppery year. The good thing is there's still a lot of berry to be found. It's not totally covering the berry. For those who like pepper, you want to drink your Zins, your Syrahs a little younger. With time in the bottle, I find that pepper takes a back seat to and becomes kind of less of a fresh, cracked, kind of in-your-face pepper and becomes more of a pepper powder, a little more finer background pepper. So if you like the rawness of pepper, drink your reds earlier. If you like a little more of a integrated balance, time in the bottle, pepper will take a back seat, allow that fruit to shine, the berry. And with Zin, there's a lot of it to be found. Wow. I'm going to put tart in capital letters. Interesting. Last year we had a lot of fog, drizzle, and then we had a couple heat spells, which was not good at all. And I'm getting ready to make the statement that the foggier, colder vintages in the Russian River Valley produce wines, particularly in Zinfandel, with more pepper. More fog, more pepper. Makes sense. That's tart. Wow. I mean, this one could be racked. The Pitt's Home Ranch could be racked. Okay. Well, let's change gears. By the way, I'm almost positive all of these wines are all, every wine that you're seeing here, from Pinot, Zin, into our Cabernets, are all under 14% alcohol, which is a big deal for people who are trying to make wines that are more food friendly and age worthy. It's tough to get your wines nowadays in California under 14%, but I do believe that there's more complexity and there's more layers in these lower alcohol wines because the fruit wasn't allowed to sit out on the vine and dehydrate out. So let's try Cabernet. Single Vineyard Cab, 2007, Dry Creek Cab from the Buchignani Ranch. Wow, holy cow. Change gear from the berry and the pepper of Zin. earth, cocoa, brown. I'm gonna call this like a brown herbal notes, coriander. This is kind of funky. Wow. Tasty. I can smell just a tiny bit of new oak, which means that the oak is being worn well on this wine. Nothing tells me that it's being over oaked, which is a good thing. I think this wine would benefit from some air. Yeah. That's tasty stuff, though. I mean, that is not fruit bomb cab. It's 12.9% alcohol. Wow, the cab blend has just got a little more earth to it, a little more of that kind of meaty smokiness from the Syrah that goes into it. Pretty interesting wine. Sonoma Harvest 2010 has Cab Franc, Merlot, a little bit of Syrah, and a little bit of Petit Syrah. A lot of Franc in this wine. Yummy. It pulls at you, as it should. A cab-based blend should be tannic right now in the barrel. These cabs are going to sit another 10 more months in the barrel. So we're talking 22 to 23 months these wines are going to sit, which would benefit these wines tremendously. So then, at the end of the drill, you've tasted through the wines. Now you need to kind of create a plan of attack. What we're going to do is put that sparkling Pinot Noir in the tank and cold stabilize it, filter it, and take it over to Girard to finish it out with sparkling in a couple months. The Pinot Noir is, because we're going to bottle it in December, I'm going to give it a little bit of air this week. Not much, pushed with argon. The Randy Zen is going to get racked because we want to bottle that wine in December as well. So we're going to give it some air. I'm not gonna probably sparge it with argon. I'm just going to rack it from tank, clean out the sediment, put the wine back, give it some air. The Russian River blend, the estate Zen, and the cabs are going to all just be topped. I'm going to add a little sulfur, about 25 to 30 milliliters to each barrel. And then we're going to taste them again after harvest. I'm going to top them again every month we top them. Thinking November is when we're going to start racking these wines again. Giving them some air, putting them to bed for the winter. So I got my little sheet. I know what I'm going to do. The wines are all tasting really good. I didn't taste any flaws in any of these wines. The Estate Zen is tart, but that just means it's going to lay down for an extremely long time, which I'm okay with. Cheers.